Okay, beginning with a little bit of what I read before it so abruptly ended in this chapter, where we came to obstacles and barriers to meditation. I will begin again and read just a little bit of what I read before. Most human minds allow their attention to be attracted to so many events in thought and action that they dwell in the field of possibility somewhere near the point of closed consciousness. They are involved with the concerns of their personal ego master. They are involved in their physical body life. Excuses are a predominant obstacle to eliminating all obstacles. Excuses are created by your personality, ego, to justify and rationalize its behavior. So long as you excuse yourself, no progression is possible. The process of awakening to your spirit involves knowing your own tendencies and admitting the real motives behind your actions. Dwelling in action, spiritually asleep in its vivid dream of physical body appetites, near the point of closed consciousness, the human mind modifies its perception of reality through the following. 1. Correct ideal. Holding a perception of something, a process of mentally defining something with which you make contact, or accepting the testimony of a qualified expert regarding something, and judging that perception or point of view to be the right or proper or only way to perceive it. Perception is dependent upon perspective, and perspective is your position in space-time and consciousness. There are many perspectives for viewing things, whether it be something tangible like a pencil, or intangible like a subjective ideal. For example, to a person viewing the sun from the earth, it may appear as a large yellow ball of intense light. To a person viewing the sun from a planet in the outer reaches of the solar system, it appears as a small, bright blue star. Another person may view the sun as a dynamic system of fusion between hydrogen atoms. Yet all three points of view, although different, are valid. Okay, hold on here. Beware of wanting to be correct or right, because the attitude, the arguments, and judgments that arise with it will limit your perception. Humankind has a tendency to turn a point of view into the right or the only way. Even the Summum philosophy can be turned into the correct way, but that would destroy it. Take note of your attitude and remember the divine paradox. Everything is partially true. Everything is correct and incorrect. The enlightened recognize all perspectives. They have cast aside the judgments which fix humans to single points of view and obstruct progression. Misconception. Under correct ideal, the viewpoints given may be considered rational viewpoints. Misconception is forming an irrational ideal regarding an object or perception. For example, a war veteran who has suffered extreme stress during his war experience and has returned to civilian life may view civilians as the enemy. Misconception entraps the human mind in illusion. Fancy. Creating a fantasy, an ideal for which no corresponding object or perception exists. This occurs when humans seeking to fulfill a need or desire of their ego pretend that a certain situation exists when they know it does not, or imagine that a certain situation exists, but they have no knowledge of it that it actually exists. In fancy, the human mind dwells upon the feature of illusion and ignores the practical work of life and the natural laws of existence. Fancy places one in a state of ignorance to the extent that knowledge can only be gained through direct experience. Keep in mind the systematic law of learning. Until you have eaten an almond, you will never really know what an almond tastes like. Likewise, until you totally surrender to a master, you will never become one. Sleep. As previously noted in the components of Summum meditation, sleep is a requirement in that the body, mind, and spirit require rest. However, sleep becomes an obstacle in the sense that when you sleep, you allow your attention to be with your subconscious mind. When you wake from sleep, your attention is brought back to your conscious mind. You may feel good, bad, or indifferent about your sleep. The fact that you feel about your sleep indicates that you were still on the points of action. Even when you are physically awake, all your attention is with your conscious or subconscious, which makes you in effect asleep rather than awake to your spirit. As you awaken to your spirit through Summum meditations, you can abide within your spirit while sleeping, resting in the state of being, instead of falling unconscious to your spirit. Just as a cat who sleeps with the abandon of a child, yet whose instinct is ever alert, so too can you remain awake to your spirit, even though you sleep. Memory. Holding on and mentally recreating a correct ideal, misconception, fancy, or sleep. Memory plays a dominant role in the human mind. Memory is an accumulation of all the infinite lives you have lived. The mind is constantly collecting data through the senses, conscious and subconscious. Nothing escapes your mind. It is the record of your existence. This collective memory is held not only with your brain, but also with every cell of your body. You are an accumulation of the genetic message from the egg and sperm of your parents. This is the destiny of your physical body and mental condition. The union of the sperm and egg that creates you contains the memories of the whole evolution of humankind. It holds the collective mind of all the generations before you. The combination of your soul and your ego make you a very complex creature. The programmed genetic memory of your body is stronger than that of your mind or your will. You will notice that every time you try to change the nature of your body, the body usually wins out. You cannot resist the nature of your body, for it is a compilation of the human race. You alone cannot win a battle against human nature. Do not battle nature. Flow with nature. Sing and dance with nature. The process of the egg and the sperm joining together, the resulting outward growth and activity of your body, the gastrulation, follows the same stages as creation itself. Your body is a miniature representation of the whole creation, the whole progression of evolution. In anthropology, this concept is termed autogeny, recapitulates phylogeny. Probably said that wrong. Do not battle nature, do not battle your body. When you do, you are trying to defeat all of evolution. Instead, harmonize with your body and with nature. Harmonize in a rhythmic dance with nature and the nature of your evolutionary body. Feel with your body, listen to your body. The practice of meditation is a battle with the mind, not the body. It is a struggle of your will to take control over the mind. Meditation is completely sensitive. Your mind is insensitive, and you have allowed the body to become insensitive. Whenever you become angry, it is due to the memories contained within either the mind or body. If the anger comes from a need of the body, it is a bodily memory. If it does not come from a need of the body, it is a mind memory. Watch where your anger comes from. Be aware of your anger. If this anger is just a mental habit, then be aware of it. The memory of the mind of all past actions is a conditioned thing. Repeating the past, you act just like an automaton. Whenever you allow your mind to accumulate memories, it is because you have no confidence in your present actions. Your mind goes through many rehearsals of many different situations. You have no confidence about acting naturally. You must prepare for your actions, saying them many different ways in your mind. You are caught by chaos in the mind, out of harmony with nature, and in battle with destiny. You have lost your rhythmic dance with nature. The struggle is the torture of human existence. When you fall in love, devotion, you feel it in your body. Every cell of your body falls in love, yet the mind is trying to rationalize what is happening. It judges, criticizes, condemns, and holds you in chaos. Such a sad state is this confusion of mind against body. It is a separation from nature and harmony. The solution: balance. Bringing yourself to the point of equilibrium through balance between mind, body, and spirit produces the complete person. By neutralizing the swing of the pendulum, concentration is focused toward the center, between the opposing points of extremes. The mind surrenders through meditation, rhythmically dancing into the music of pure, alert, clear, total, undisturbed, and open consciousness in the presence of Summum. And the body is brought to sensitivity through dynamic, rhythmic dance, physical, exhaustive exercise. The ideal meditation is the grand master key to reconciliation and the powers of spiritual psychokinesis. With the recognition of the two extremes neutralized and brought into balance, the disciple allows for a smooth, continuous evolution. When the disciple develops the powers of spiritual psychokinesis, he or she becomes a master of the universes. Truly, it is magical. Okay, chapter 18, Summum Axioms. The possession of knowledge, unless accompanied by an expression of action, is like the hoarding of precious metals, a vain and foolish thing. Knowledge, like wealth, is intended for use. The law of use is universal, and those who violate it suffer by reason of their conflict with natural forces. Summum. The Summum teachings are not intended to be merely stored away and secreted. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. Beware of mental miserliness and express into action that which you have learned. Study the axioms, but practice and teach them also. Given below are some of the more important Summum axioms, with a few comments added to each. Make these your own and practice and use them, for they are not really yours until you have used and taught them. Experience is the best teacher. Summum. The systematic law of learning must be applied to all principles in order for one to have real knowledge rather than just belief. This learning requires you to first question the principle. Secondly, you must take activity in the principle and experience the action or the cause and effect of the principle. Thirdly, you move to a knowledge about rather than a belief in the principle, for the principle and its workings become yours through experience. Okay, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. Summum. You may change your mental vibrations by an effort of will, by deliberately fixing the attention upon a more desirable state. Will directs the attention, and attention changes your vibration. Cultivate the art of attention by means of the will, through meditation, and you have solved the secret of the mastery of moods and mental states. Strengthen and enlarge the will by accumulating kinetic energy from the field of all action and manifested creation. Convert the kinetic energy into potential energy and store it in the will through meditation. Summum. By accumulating kinetic energy and altering it to potential energy for use by the will, your will may be strengthened and enlarged. Energize the attention with potential energy from the will, then immerse the attention and the will within Summum. While immersed in Summum, your will and attention are energized with the very essences of creation. During this immersion, kinetic energy from the field of all action and manifested creation is altered into potential energy for storage in your will. To alter an undesirable rate of mental vibration, put into operation the principle of opposition and concentrate upon the opposite point of that which you desire to suppress. Dissolve the undesirable by withdrawing your attention from it. Summum. This is one of the most important of the Summum formulas. It is based on true scientific principles. The mental state and its opposite are merely the two contrasting points on the same scale. By mental immersion, the vibration can be altered. The principle is known to modern psychologists who apply it to the breaking up of undesirable habits by instructing their students to concentrate upon the opposing quality. If you are possessed of fear, do not waste time trying to kill it. Instead, cultivate the quality of courage, and the fear will disappear. Some writers have expressed this idea most forcefully by using the illustration of the dark room. You do not clear out darkness, just open the curtains, let in the light, and the darkness disappears. To dissolve a negative quality, concentrate the attention on the positive point of that same quality. The vibrations will gradually change from negative to positive until finally you become fixed on the positive point. The reverse is also true, as many have found to their sorrow when they allowed themselves to vibrate too constantly on the negative point. By changing your vibration, you may master your moods, change your mental states, remake your disposition, and build up character. Much of the mental mastery of the advanced masters is due to the application of immersion, which is one of the more important aspects of mental psychokinesis. Remember the Summum axiom, which says, mind, as well as metal and elements, may be altered psychokinetically from state to state, degree to degree, proportion to proportion, condition to condition, point to point, vibration to vibration. Psychokinesis is mental mastery. The mastery of immersion is the mastery of the fundamental principle of psychokinesis, or mental alteration. For unless one acquires the art of altering their own vibration, they will be unable to affect their environment. An understanding of this principle will empower one to change their own vibration as well as that of others. If you will but devote the time, care, study, and meditative techniques necessary to master the art. The principle is true, but the results obtained depend upon the persistent patience and practice of the student. Rhythm may be neutralized by an application of the art of immersion. Summum. as explained in a previous chapter, Summum holds the principle of rhythm manifest on the mental levels as well as the physical. Further, the bewildering succession of moods, feelings, emotions, and other mental states are due to the backward and forward swing of the mental pendulum that carries you from one extreme of feeling to another. Summum also teaches that the law of neutralization enables one, to a great extent, to overcome the operation of rhythm. There are both higher and lower levels of consciousness. By rising mentally to the higher level, the master causes the swing of the mental pendulum to manifest on the lower level, and by dwelling on the higher level, escapes the consciousness of the swing backward. This is effected by immersing in the higher self, and thus raising the mental vibrations of the ego above those of the ordinary levels of consciousness. It is similar to the process of rising above a force and allowing it to pass beneath you, rather than the point of personality. By refusing to participate in the operation of rhythm, they raise themselves above its level of function. Standing firm in their statement of being, they allow the pendulum to swing back upon the lower levels without changing their fixed position of immersion. This is accomplished by all individuals who have attained any degree of self-mastery, whether they understand the law or not. Such persons simply refuse to allow themselves to be swung back by the pendulum of mood and emotion, and by steadfastly affirming the superiority of spirit, they remain fixed on the positive point. The masters, of course, attain a far greater degree of proficiency because they understand the law which they are overcoming through the use of a higher law. By use of their will, they attain a degree of poise and mental steadfastness almost impossible to believe by those who allow themselves to be swung backward and forward by the mental pendulum of moods and feelings. Remember always, however, that you do not really destroy the principle of rhythm, for that is indestructible. You simply overcome one law by counterbalancing it with another, thus maintaining an equilibrium. The laws of balance and counterbalance are in operation on the mental as well as on the physical levels. An understanding of these laws seemingly enables one to overthrow laws, while in fact they are merely exerting a counterbalance. Nothing escapes the principle of cause and effect, destiny, but there are many levels of the law, and one may use laws of the higher to overcome the laws of the lower. An understanding of the practice of immersion allows you to rise to a higher level of cause and effect and thus counterbalance the laws of the lower levels. By rising above the level of ordinary causes, you become, to a degree, a cause instead of an effect. Able to master your own moods and feelings and to neutralize rhythm, you are able to escape a great part of the operation of cause and effect on the ordinary level. The masses are carried along obedient to their environment. The wills and desires of others overpower them, and the effects of memory and inherited tendencies rule them, so that they tend to move about on the chessboard of life like mere pawns. By rising above these influencing causes, the advanced student seeks a higher level of mental action and direction. Dominating their moods, emotions, impulses, and feelings, they create for themselves new characters, qualities, and powers through which they overcome their environment. They now become the players instead of mere pawns. Such people assist in the game of life instead of being moved about this way and that by stronger influences, powers, and wills. The use of the principle of cause and effect instead of being used, they use the principle of cause and effect instead of being used by it. Of course, even the highest are subject to the principle as it manifests on the higher levels, but on the lower levels of activity, they are masters, instead of slaves. As Summum says, the wise serve on the higher but rule on the lower. They obey the laws coming from above them, but on their own level and those below them, they rule and give orders. Yet in doing so, they form a part of the principle instead of opposing it. The wise fall in with the law, and by understanding its movements, operate it instead of being its blind slave. Just as the skilled swimmer turns this way and that way, goes and comes at will rather than being carried like a floating log, so are the wise as compared to the novice. Both swimmer and log, wise and fool, are subject to law. Those who understand this are well on the road to mastery. And I am at almost 26 minutes, so I don't want this to cut off in mid-sentence. Let me look, though, and see if there's more to this chapter. Yes, there is. Okay, and I'm on page 63. Okay, well, until the next time, this is the Dove Lady. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.